Happy birthday, like Frosty, right? No, no. Oh, oh, happy Monday, everybody! Let's rock and roll. It was a crazy weekend for some of us. Jess and I and Phil and Bravis went down to the Tough Mudders. My legs literally look like I went through a cheese grater. They are just from the knees down, just shredded. My arms aren't so bad, but and I'll have to admit, Jess did better than I did.
What?
Yeah.
You guys were shoving me over stuff at points.
Yeah, but Tough Mudders are not meant for short people. I mean, the funniest thing that happened while we were out there is Bravis going, Jess, I got to put my hand on your ass. Are you okay? Because there was no way you're getting them over obstacles and shit without a lot of uncomfortable pushing.
Well, the funny thing is, I didn't even hear him ask that. I was like, just get me over the damn thing.
It is tough. Jess, how tall are you? Are you 5'3"?
I'm 5'2", 5'3", yeah.
Yeah. So
5'2", 5'3", she's
being able to reach anything.
5'3" if I stand on my tiptoes.
Yeah.
No.
But no, okay, so I had the waterproof socks on.
Waterproof
socks? They make waterproof socks. And so they were up to my calves, and they were amazing until they got fully soaked. So they were fully submerged, and then it just kept the water inside of the socks. The one thing, so my legs weren't torn up because they were so thick that they protected my legs. So it was like a trade-off.
And we wore shirts that said we were sober when we signed up for this. Big mistake. Some of the mud pits we went through were so thick that you come up and you could not read a single thing on the shirts. I mean, this one, the one mud pit that we jumped in, you went in like 4 times. That's where we all got banged up on because, I mean, they were deep fucking pits. Like the pits were over my head. The water would come up to you like your knees.
The first one I had to paddle to, and they had to like put their legs down. And I was like,
I mean, I'm glad I missed it, but I'm kind of sad I missed it.
Right.
We're going to do it again. So we're going to do it as a big ass SCN event, try and get a ton of people there because having 20, 30 people, because it's not a race. And Jess will even tell you it's fun. Yes, you're going to get tired, but you jog to the next obstacle, and then the goal is just to help everybody through the obstacles. There was a lot of fun things. But since Serena said hello, I've gotten a lot of presents, but this one's one of my new favorite ones. She got me the I just threw it.
What the hell was that?
It's the screaming goat buzzer.
Right.
So
I'll
wait in your meetings.
That's in the haunted house.
Right. If I'm in y'all's meetings and you go over 30 seconds on your goddamn champion's 30, you're gonna get smacked down.
Oh Lord.
She also got me a sign. It's up here. It says, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy baby goats, and that's kind of the same thing. So, that's fun. That's fun.
Do they have buttons for every farm animal sound?
I have no idea. They got a lot of stupid buttons for a lot of dumb things now. So
you can find everything on Amazon and Temu. So
yeah.
I bet you can find it.
Yeah. So what'd you guys do for fun this weekend? Peyton broke his RV again, so he didn't do the Tough Mudder.
Yeah. I was supposed to get out to the Tough Mudder. I took off Friday, made it about an hour out, and then one of my stabilizer legs hit the ground while I was driving.
Again?
And so
again,
you really just need to carry that duct tape inside your
No.
What really happened? He was like, "Fuck, I don't want to go do that stupid shit." So I
wanted to so bad, but nothing we did was work, and the leg wouldn't come back up. So I had to disconnect the hydraulic hose from it, leak hydraulic fluid everywhere, manually pick the fucker up, and then tie it in place. And after 2 hours,
on the way home, there is a safari RV park.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, elephants, freaking ostriches, all kinds of shit that you can go out there RV camp amongst all the freaking huge ass safari animals and stuff.
That's cool.
It was pretty rad. There's a couple of those around Texas. We've been to a couple of them. So,
oh my gosh,
good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You too, Donnie. Thanks, Woody.
Yeah.
I will say there's one obstacle I don't care to ever fucking do again. And you assholes that do this every day are just fucking morons. But we did an ice plunge that was about 20 foot, and they're just dumping bags of ice in this fucking thing. And there's boards you have to go under. So, like, every ounce of my body just stung.
See, I think next time I do it, that I will just swim because it wasn't the first one, it was the second one coming up and then going back in. I think I would just like push through and dove through the whole thing next time.
I think it would also would have been better had it been like 90 degrees out.
Well, yeah.
But it was only like 70, so 73. So
only 70. It's like 30 here.
I mean, you guys got out of it and you guys were saying stuff, but I was also like, I'm not even a man, and I'm sitting here crossing my legs.
I get out and I'm like, I'm pretty sure my balls are in my throat right now.
Oh.
Because it was, I don't know what the temperature of that water was, but it was damn cold.
Sounds like Bernie will be tailgating if he participates at all.
Yes,
so.
yes. I'll have a 6-pack and a folding chair.
So I would be on the sideline heckling. That would just be a lot of damn fun. So, but we're gonna do it again. We're gonna try and get a lot more SCN people out there because it was fun watching like some of the college, groups and whatnot with 40 kids out there all running together, making sure they got through it. That was pretty cool to see. I'm pretty sure me and Phil were some of the oldest fuckers out there.
Ladies, the frat boys are your friends. I'm just saying.
Hoist me up, please.
I told Jess before we got there, I said, look, I'm like, some of these obstacles, you're just going to get grabbed. It's not intentional. People are really just trying to help, but there's going to be some unintentional grabbing, just trying to help you get over the wall. But it's really all done in a friendly nature, but it was a damn good time. And friggin', I got to practice running hills again because those hills kicked my ass.
Look at Bernie. He's like, nope, not doing that. Definitely not doing that.
Nope. Not unless there's a bear involved. I'm not running.
I'm sure they can find one and add it to the course.
Yeah. That's the next level. We bought the package just before that.
You want to spice it up? We'll throw in some wild animals.
Right. Oh, we didn't even talk about the ducky dress.
Oh, so there's one guy that every year he's done like 150 Tough Mudders in a row. He like does them all. So two things were happening. One, they had people doing the infinity loop. They're training for the toughest mudder, which is a 24-hour race where you just keep running the 15 miles and doing all the obstacles. Okay. These two just gigantic black dudes had weighted vest on doing this. And I'm like, it was kicking my ass enough just doing it alone. But the one guy, he runs every course barefoot. And he was running in a ducky sundress barefoot. The whole thing.
I love it.
Wow.
And then when we get up to the electric wire, you want to tell that, Jess? Crazy fucker.
Oh, yeah. He just walks through like arms out.
So the last portion of the course, you have all these dangling freaking electric wire fences that you just walk through and you get zapped. It's not over the top, but it'll make you go, oh, shit, when you get hit. And he just walks through it, freaking just getting tagged. And then he goes around and does it again.
No,
we know they're doing it for promotional.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, I wouldn't doubt that if Tough Mudder didn't sponsor him to come out and do these, so he would, act a fool for him. So.
Me and Genevieve were talking about, like, when we get out there, do we want to put on Ren Fair outfits and run through the course in Ren Fair outfits?
You wouldn't be able to make it through.
No.
Too many layers. Because even in t-shirts, shorts, and shirts, I mean, you're so caked in mud that shit's just sticking to you. And if you got extra layers, you're gonna be 200 pounds.
That's
won't happen. So, but doing something more extreme like that would be fun next year. I'll have to figure that out. So, all right, Piggy, let's roll that crazy shit.
All right, let's play a game. All right, we're going to play real or fake podcasts. We've played it before. So these are some real podcasts, some podcasts that I've made up, some podcasts that GPT helped me make. And y'all are going to have to figure out if they're real or if they're fake. I'll give you a description so that you're not just firing blind, but some of them are interesting. First up, Everything is Alive, an interview-style podcast where inanimate objects like a can of cola or a lamppost are brought to life with improvised conversations.
So is this like actors or?
Yeah, it's like don't Donnie, today you're gonna pretend to be a lamppost, and we're gonna have an interview.
I think you just described my entire personality, but
I think fake. I don't know what. I wouldn't listen to that.
I mean, I think it's fake, but I kind of hope it's real.
I'm gonna go with real because I think some actors would be having some fun with this.
Yeah, I'm going to go real too.
Baron?
Yeah, I think real with the improv angle. So
Yeah, the improv angle is what sells it, I think. Real. This one's
Look at
real. You
that.
can find it on Spotify and Apple Music.
Now I kind of
I've
want to go
seen-
listen to it.
Yeah.
It's like the Beauty and the Beast. Like everything comes out to life.
Yeah, right. I've seen
guest.
I've seen a video version of this where it wasn't this show, it was a different show that kind of did a twist on it. They took actors and they brought in special effects makeup. The actors had no idea what the special effects makeup was going to be. So sometimes they come out of the office looking like aliens, or they look like a bunch of boulders or something. And you have to create a character on the spot when you see what you look like.
Oh,
And then you go into this
That'd be
interview.
fun.
I love improv. There's 4 guys that I watch on improv, and they do one of their funniest things they do is this stop. So they'll start acting on a scene and they'll say stop, and somebody in has to jump in and take over the role. There's some of the funniest shit comes out of that. I love that kind of stuff.
Improv's good.
Yeah.
Next podcast. This one is called Inbox Zero, a self-improvement podcast. Podcast about productivity, digital minimalism, and getting your life and emails under control.
If it's not real, that's a damn good name.
I mean, I think it's real.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
real.
I think so too.
I'll go real.
Real across the board, huh? This one is fake.
Oh, damn, that's a good name.
I know. I like cross-referenced it. I was like, are we sure there's nothing out here? Okay, cool. But no, I agree. That would be a fun one. The Amelia Project, a dark comedy fiction podcast about a secret agency who helps people fake their own deaths.
I mean, this one sounds interesting to me, but I don't know.
Oh,
I'm gonna say real. I'm gonna hope it's real.
I'm gonna say false just because I'm not into this shit.
Yeah, I think it's
I'm gonna go fake.
Ernie?
I'm gonna go
Here we
fake.
I'm
Yes.
going real. Real.
All right. We're scattered across on this one. This one is real.
Ah, jeez.
Let's see. How many
Imploding
episodes?
predictions.
No, I was gonna see how many episodes there are on it, but I can't tell right here. I should have looked it up, but it wasn't just like a few. I remember it having enough to scroll through to find the episode 1, but I don't remember the exact number. It's been going on for a minute though.
Interesting.
Lore and order, storytelling,
Oh, I'd listen to this.
folklore, myths.
I don't care.
real-world
I'm gonna
world.
say it's real because I want it to be real. I'd listen to this. Bring the fucking fantasy, folklore, all that shit in to real law case. Hell yes, let's do this.
It's got a good name. It's got a good name.
That's a good
Lore
name.
and order. I thought it was good. So how are we feeling?
It's
I'm
probably
gonna go
fucking
fake. Even though
Yeah.
it'd be fun, I think it's fake.
I think
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fake.
I'll say fake.
Real.
Donnie's the only one.
Fuck.
Lore and order is fake. I made this one up.
That's good though. That's a good name.
Yeah.
You
It'd
know,
be
Don
fun.
would have said yes, it's real. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Constant, a history of getting
Oh, that's
things
real.
wrong.
That's got to be real.
Humanity's biggest scientific mistakes, failed theories, and
Yeah.
the third
I feel like
misconception.
somebody could just follow me around and make this podcast.
The Tawny Bovine story.
The history of getting things wrong. The Donnie Bogan story.
Oh.
I'm gonna go real. I think this one could be real.
Yeah.
Well, so I already know one out there that is like this. So I have to go real, but I don't know if the title's real.
That's fair. I did
mean, I-
cross-reference, so if the title, none of the titles have been used before. None of the titles have, but I think most of the fake ones, like in my cross-referencing, it was like there are no podcasts similar to this title that do similar things. So if that helps you at all.
I feel like Peyton just did a lot of explaining.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just show you. This one's real. I was gonna say it's too early in the morning, but with the time change recently, I'm like, it doesn't feel bad. This one is called The Unscripted Entrepreneur. Real conversations with business owners, freelancers, and creatives who built something their own way. No corporate fluff, just real stories.
This is going to be real because it sounds
Real.
like every other fucking podcast
Yeah.
out there because nobody can get fucking creative. They just want to do the same shit over and over and over again.
Tell us how you really feel, Donnie.
Yeah. Oh, was that?
Don't hold back.
So I
I would say real.
did this one I made up, but I knew it was following the same trope as everything else. So nothing has this name, but it's the same thing everybody's done.
Yeah.
All right, this one. Roll for Reality, a D&D choose your own podcast adventure. Each week, game masters narrate a wildly unpredictable story filled with suspense, humor, and ridiculous twists, but the audience votes every week to decide what happens next.
Boy, that's a lot to do in a podcast. I bet it's be cool if they pull it off, but that's a lot.
I think it's entirely too much to make up, so it's real.
Okay.
I'll say fake.
I'm going real,
I'm gonna say real.
but I
I'm
want to
gonna
know how
say
the
real.
fuck they pull it off.
They have a really good team.
Duh.
Maybe a better producer than Donnie has.
Yeah.
This one's fake.
Oh,
Made this one up. I know. I fell in
Put a
love
lot
with the
of thought
idea.
into that one, Peyton.
No, that one was Chat GPT's. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
That
okay.
was, it
I know what
popped up, I was
podcast
like,
Peyton's going to make next.
that's good stuff. Oh man, that would be a lot of work though.
Yeah, it's a
But-
tremendous amount of work because how short would the episodes be before you have to get to a situation where you roll?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
You know, but I mean, it could be done that way where you're creating a whole thing and doing, 5-minute, 10-minute stories and then freaking, getting everybody to choose and then rolling live would be wild.
I don't know. I think I would go get some of those choose your own adventure books for inspiration and just
Oh,
follow
yeah.
their paths
Mhm.
and recreate it in the podcast.
That could be
Yeah.
fun as shit.
Those are
The
great
idea
books.
was you put a poll out after each episode. So everyone that watched the episode 1, then there's a poll at the end of like 4 or 5 different adventures. And then everybody just votes. And then DM builds a story around
Yeah.
that thing.
Dude, Choose Your Own Adventure book was the closest I ever came to reading a book until the age of 22. I never read a book until I was 22 years old, but Choose Your Own Adventures was the closest I came to it.
Mhm.
Those are cool books. Reading was fucking boring.
Yeah, reading's not your thing. I could have guessed.
It
that.
is now. It is now. I freaking love. I just listen to on Audible, but
All right, here we go. This is JB Lesperance, and he is the patent baron. Choosing the right partner to manage your intellectual property is crucial. IP protection isn't just a file to work on. It's the most valuable asset of your business. The Patent Baron Group prides themselves on their professional, natural, and friendly approach to IP law. And today, JB gets the hot seat with the Success Champions team.
what's up, JB, man? Good to have you join us here.
Thank you. Thank
So-
you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Introduce yourself a little bit more. You know, Peyton always does a hell of a job with those, but tell us a bit more about you and how the heck can we help?
Yeah, thanks. And yeah, Peyton, you did a really good job there. But, as you said, I'm an intellectual property attorney, a patent attorney, but I also help with trademarks, copyrights, all aspects of intellectual property. As my tagline says, we put a lock in your ideas. So that can cover a lot of things. I've been an patent attorney for about 20 years now, and I was an engineer before that. I worked in the automotive industry and, got a lot of exposure to product development and engineering and helping companies grow and come up with new products and, meet customer goals. And then I think that's been very helpful for me in helping clients on the legal side, because I've been in private practice, but I've also been in the corporate legal practice side too. So I understand what it's like to manage budgets and portfolios and long-term goals. And, like Peyton said in the intro, it's not just a file, it's part of a bigger picture. And I and everybody at the Patent Baron want to help everybody grow, and we want to be there for the long term for you.
Nice. I wish you'd finish something like, get an award or graduate college or something, because it looks like you've never finished anything in your life with 500 certificates behind you on the wall.
I'm in my home office, so my wife said I had all these things in a plastic tote there. She said, you should put them up down there. So I thought this would be a good place to do.
That's pretty rad. That's pretty rad.
Thank
So,
you.
what's the biggest thing we can help you with when it comes to your business?
Well, for me, one thing that's interesting about being in intellectual property is it's really a federal legal practice. Patents are exclusively federal, and trademarks are almost exclusively federal. So I can help clients from coast to coast and beyond, whereas most attorneys can only practice in whatever states they're admitted in. So that's a unique thing about my practice. I can help clients, in Australia, in Europe, wherever, as well as the U.S. So I'm looking to grow the practice nationally. I'm having good success growing it in Michigan, where I'm based, but that's what I'm looking for some help with. How to reach out to clients, beyond Michigan, and one thing that I've been thinking about a bit too is you see a lot of personal injury firms that work nationally, but they work with local firms. And, so something that, I'm kind of thinking about would be as a way for me to kind of be that sort of thing for intellectual property. So I could help other firms and be kind of a, that sort of configuration so that people can reach out to the patent baron, and then I can connect them with other firms that I'm affiliated with, because there's a lot of firms out there that aren't, big, huge firms with offices everywhere, but they're looking to grow their business too. And I think it's just an interesting approach to, helping connect clients with the right firm.
So I'm curious, with so much business in Michigan alone, why go national? Like, I mean, in your own backyard, there's got to be just a ridiculous amount of business. So why the focus on national?
Well, I think part of it is to have more of a diverse base. I'm not going to be so dependent on necessarily the economy in Michigan and how things are going in Michigan. I think the economy in Michigan is going pretty well, but it's something that I can, I guess, take advantage of that whole national aspect of what I do versus other attorneys that aren't in intellectual property or aren't patent attorneys. So I think I've always been the nature of wanting to have a diverse client base that isn't just in one particular area, one particular technology, just to weather those ups and downs of particular industries or regions.
Are you looking to build like an empire, or are you looking to keep it somewhat of a small practice? I mean, because some people think that solopreneur is what they really what they want, even though they think they should have tons of employees, tons of staff, tons of all this. Where are you heading at?
Right. Well, I think somewhere in between that. I don't necessarily. I like when you said empire, that made me chuckle, but I like that. That's I don't know about that, but I think just the idea of growing, as there are other, let's say, other attorneys that are looking to maybe get out of the big law kind of rat race and all of the politics there, and just looking to practice law and help clients and do what they want to do where they happen to be, is something that is a way that I could grow the firm and offer some of that non-stress type of environment that often happens in bigger law firms. And so I don't necessarily want to just be a very small specialized firm, but I don't necessarily want to be have 500 attorneys and have to fly everyone to Vegas every year for meeting.
Are there industries that you specifically specialize in? I know you kind of answered this earlier, but is there like, do you have buckets of clients that you focus in?
Well, that's one thing too in growing the firm that I think would be helpful. But I have a mechanical and electrical engineering background, so that covers a lot of products, whether they're more technical oriented or maybe not so technical oriented. But it doesn't cover things like chemicals, pharmaceuticals, biotech, that sort of thing. So for me to have people, come on board that have experience in those areas, or, have relationships with them, then that can really help, service clients, because sometimes, we have to know where our experience lies. And, I'm not a chemical engineer. I don't have a PhD in chemistry. So that's something that, I cannot do and I don't want to do. But again, it's a way for me to help serve clients and, bring on more clients, because there might be some things that I can do for that particular client in the chemical area. Maybe it's trademark related or licensing or other things.
Is there like any crazy areas that you would love to go into? Like, is there something that you really geek out on? You're like, man, if I could do all the patents in this space, that'd be huge.
Well, that's a good question. So, it's funny, despite having an automotive background, I haven't done a ton of automotive work, but, the automotive work can translate into a lot of different things. So it doesn't have to necessarily be, vehicles. It could be, things like drones, or, even, something like scale, RC kind of things, all kind in that whole area. It still has all the elements of it. Even something like, well, my wife just bought me one of those Lego Land Rover Defender kits, and it had about an 800-page manual on to put it together. So I said, I'm going to do this, and I sat down and I did it. But even something like Lego, is quite a universe in its own, right? And to have something like that as a client would be certainly interesting, because I hadn't really touched Legos for many years, but saw those at Costco.
Yeah, because Legos are like buying a house anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, it was, a million pieces, and, covered the whole table basically.
That's insane. That's insane. So you're called the Patent Baron. First, where did that come from? And two, why the fuck isn't that a household name?
Well, my wife, I have to credit her for that. That's my middle name. And, when we met, she thought, well, you're an attorney, that's such a great, name to have. It was my father's name. And she said, it's more memorable. Some attorneys like to use, their first initial and middle name. So I thought, okay, that would be, that's a good idea. There's probably, fewer barons in people's contacts than Jeffrey, my first name. So I started using that, and then, in trying to, getting my own practice started, and the firm and everything, wanting to be unique and not just say the law office of me kind of thing. And then playing on the Red Baron and all of that, little bit of an aviation, crossover. So instead of the Red Baron, the Patent Baron. And that's where that came from.
So why isn't it a household name?
Well, I'm working on it, but
Tell me
that's
more.
one of the reasons why I'm here in the hot seat.
What do you mean? What does it mean by you're working on it? What are you doing to try and get the Patent Baron name really out there?
Well, about a year ago, I had my website redone. I met a firm that really specializes in law firm websites, and they convinced me, first of all, that I needed to have a physical office, which I hadn't had one, but I did get a physical office for Google and SEO, and it's been very, very productive. I have to say, it's brought in a lot of clients and things. So so they've certainly helped. We've been targeting, like I was saying, locally in Michigan, and getting my name out there, and then the firm, on top of the SEO results. But that's why when I was approached for this, I thought, well, this would be a good opportunity to see what input I could receive from you about how to grow beyond that.
So, all right, kids, let's help them out, because you got a lot of cool shit here. I'll throw it to the team first and let them jump in before I start thrashing some of your stuff in a very polite manner.
No, that's okay. I appreciate it.
You know where I'm going to go with this, because if global is what you want, then your best global stage opportunity is LinkedIn. So I just pulled up your profile for the first time. So we're not connected, but I can see that you do have a great following. but are you using that platform to the best of its ability to spread the word that you want to be spreading and to speak to the people you want to speak to? I mean that in not a way like speak to them on the phone. I mean, like, is your message telling the people that you want to become clients what you would do for them, what pain you're solving for them? So, because I think the as soon as you said global, I was like, oh, well, LinkedIn is your best bet for that. Your best platform for that, because you can reach, and I mean, you can specifically target folks that are in those geographic areas that you want to be focusing on using that. So rather than pray and spray, it gives you the ability to narrow that focus a little bit, make it a little bit more like find your niche a little bit more with those folks. So, and there's a million ways you can go with that. That is a very broad answer to how to like using LinkedIn. There's that you could really dive down in how to use LinkedIn to target those people specifically.
I'm looking at your website. Okay. It looks like a good lawyer website. I think it's a missed opportunity. Right. And here's why. It's the patent baron. Like, there's attorneys around here that are called, the Hammer. They're called the Law Eagle. I mean, all these cool fucking names, and they go to absolute fucking extremes promoting themselves out there. The Texas Hammer, he's known to carry around a freaking sledgehammer and smash cars and, do all these stuff and these big commercials and everything else. The Law Hawk is that guy. His commercials got one of the most viral lawyer commercials of all times because it's just so stupidly insane, all the things he does in the commercial. Like, I think you played it extremely safe on your website. There's nothing wrong with it. I think you're just missing a big swing as far as really putting the patent baron out there. One change I would make immediately, though. If you truly want to go global, why are you showing Michigan in the background, or Detroit probably more specifically, behind your image versus really saying, I want to do this national brand? You're still promoting Michigan, which I understand when they were building it that it was focused on local.
Right. That's a great point.
But the patent baron, man, is such a cool damn name. Like, where's you with the fight, the flight goggles on, the freaking headband, actually stepping in and becoming the fucking Baron?
Right. Well, that was an earlier logo had more of that, kind of the, aviation theme. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, we did start the website focusing locally, but
yeah, it does. It specifically says Michigan. You're Michigan.
I know. Yes. Well, this is version 2. So we're
of course,
we're evolving and growing. So we're starting in the local area, but
and it's something to think about. Bernie's got his mustache. I got my ball cap. We're always doing these things to stand out. You're fading into the legal world. Go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
So playing off the website, if you're not going to go after a local geographical area, the next easiest SEO play is being industry specific. And that's why I was asking, what industries do you go after? Because you're either looking for someone local or you're looking for someone that specializes in your industry to get you there quicker. And so if we're going on a national scale, then we need to flip the messaging on your website to be, okay, how do we get the most traffic? And this is where you need to bring in an SEO keyword research and be like, okay, what keywords do we need to be targeting and re-gear it? Still keep your local SEO going. I already looked at your Google business profile. You have 18 reviews, 5-star reviews. That's great. Every time you work with a client, bring those in because that's part of your first paint. When they search the patent baron, that's going to come up. And the more stars you have, the more reviews you have, that will make them push them into your website and check it out. But completely agree with what everyone else is saying of, hey, let's make this stand out. Let's be that baron. Let's be that specialist in the patent attorney play space.
I really liked the specialist play there because, let's talk specifically about the automotive. Let's talk about, the Lego type thing. I mean, I bet you've done some really cool patents, and different things. Let's talk about the cool thing. Let's put some of your clients on display and show, who they are. Those who go, the squeaky wheel gets you oil, right? So I know you're more of a reserved guy, but you've got a loud brand that's not being very loud.
No, that's a good point. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's great because, well, I appreciate the comments too. And, again, running and creating the patent bearer idea, is something unique to do. Again, I
want to see you on the Snoopy house.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Well, that could certainly be added. Yes.
So it sounds to me like you like the automotive industry, the automotive vein of things. So are there other places within automotive that you could be looking? And I don't know specifically what you have worked on in automotive. I heard a couple of the things you said, but the automotive industry is so big. There's so many things that you could be touching in the automotive industry. Mm-hmm. So to Jess's point, if you wanted to specialize a little bit more and find something staying in that automotive realm, but even maybe finding a couple avenues within automotive that you really like to be able to focus on too.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah. I mean, it is a diverse, market. I mean, it compared to a lot of different things, it stretches everywhere really. But yeah, that's what I was saying too, is that, I've worked on a fair amount of automotive technology in my career, but a lot of it has been other things, other consumer products. And I worked on wireless charging for a period of time and, all sorts of things. So that's one thing that I do enjoy about my practice is that I do get to work on a lot of different things. So I'm always learning about that technology, that client, and, it helps make me a better attorney. And I can advise them and others based on, things that I learned because I'm not maybe necessarily super focused, but, certainly working in that mechanical electrical space.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to play devil's advocate even on my own advice. Who is your ideal client? Is it small business, big business? Is there more of a niche space for you?
I think for me, it's more in the small business. And
okay, then I'm going to keep my advice. If it's going after corporate America, your website needs to say straight lace, button down, the way it fuck it is. But if you're going after small business, now it really needs to go fucking loud and crazy, right? So you attract, because right now you look like you only work with big companies.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so buttoned down.
Right.
How many patents have you done roughly over the past 5 years?
I'd say probably, about 50, 75. So
every one of those is a LinkedIn post.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. How many trademarks have you done?
Oh, yeah. Well,
every one of those is a LinkedIn post. Every one of those is a story.
The reason though is because that people who might not think that they fit in your world, might not think that they need your services, might not think anything like that. They could read a story about one that you've done and be like, oh, wait. Oh, that does totally make sense to me. Because not everybody, you are an expert at what you know. You have so much knowledge about what you know, but not very many other people have that. And so they don't even know that they need you to help them until they hear somebody else's story.
And, JB, from a networking perspective, obviously you're in my chapter, so I hear who you're asking for regularly. Are you getting any traction being introduced and getting referrals from other practices that maybe don't specialize in patent work?
You mean other legal practices?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It certainly does happen because, other attorneys, they specialize in, their particular area, if they're, business attorneys or, tax attorneys, that sort of thing. So, they have their areas. And, sometimes it could be even, maybe more farther afield attorneys, maybe in the family law area, they have a client and then they're having some issues with a trademark or, something along those lines. And, Also, too, I think sometimes a lot of referrals come from CPAs and people, in that space, because sometimes their clients are telling them something that comes up and they're working on things for them, and they say, oh well, I need somebody to help me with this particular IP issue.
Right.
How many SCN chapters have you visited since you've been a member?
Well, that's a good point. That's something that I need to do. I think, it's been, I've been pretty much in Bernie's, my home chapter. So I really need to start doing that.
Yeah. And across the board, I wish more members would do that. I mean, as a member, you can go visit every chapter once a month. And I think, how many more people can you're going to remember the patent baron, right? As you go around, even though there's going to be other IP and trademark attorneys and patent attorneys in the network, the patent baron is going to be very, very memorable. You need to get out. Where else are you networking outside of SCN that's on a more national scale? How are you meeting people otherwise across, the US or the world where you want to go? What are you doing to get your ass outside of Michigan?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, that's why I really need to, I think, refocus my efforts on LinkedIn and use that, because most of my networking outside of SCN is more, Michigan based. It's, a couple local chambers, which have been, chambers of commerce, which have been helpful, certainly in meeting people in the area here in Southeast Michigan. But yeah, I do need to, because again, talking about, my goals for the firm is to be more national. So that's where I need to spend more of my efforts.
Are there any cities that you would like to be in or like to go visit?
Yeah, because Jess is constantly going, I want to open a chapter here. Just go, we can go there.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, let's see, there's the one thing about, automotive, but a lot of things that are automotive can also translate into other areas too, whether it's aviation and other things. But, obviously, California is, a place where there's a lot of companies, a lot of small businesses there, and Texas as well, places where there's, more, just a bigger economy, and there's going to be more small businesses that are going to need, my services.
So something I like to do is go on Eventbrite and find these events that are being hosted in those cities. There's a lot of trash on Eventbrite, but I mean, last night I was looking at one that was an angel investor group. And those are people that have ideas that are going to need patents and all that stuff. So start looking specifically in the city of virtual events that you could attend. And then if it's a city that you want to go visit, it's a business deduction. Go meet with those people. We went down to Austin this past week, and I started off with a networking meeting. I've already been there once, and so I continued the relationships. But going to the networking meeting in person, people remembered me, but then I also got 4 leads out of it. So sometimes it is, if you can go find the right spots to network, then it is beneficial, and you get the ROI of traveling to these cities. And then you get a small vacation and get to go do a Tough Mudder as well.
Well, you're close to Chicago too, so there's a lot of international business happening in Chicago, and there's absolutely a ton of human beings in Chicago and a ton of small businesses. So doing what Jess just said, but using Chicago, which is a drivable distance for you, and something that if you make relationships through groups online or something like that, virtual meetups and stuff like that, then like you said, like Jess said, you can carry those relationships in real life. And really benefit from them. But Chicago is probably one of your best bets for international business, like meeting international business people.
I like the angel investor play, because when Jess and I we're down in San Antonio doing an event down there, at the same venue, there was a freaking pitch contest for angel investors happening. So they had like 5 companies pitching to a room full of investors and angels and whatnot. And I thought, God, if anybody that needs something like patents, trademarks, and the like, they're going to be sitting in that room. Imagine finding one of those in Chicago and how big that freaking, room would be. Things like that would be huge, because oftentimes in those pitches, not everybody sitting in the audience is an investor, unless they say so. So there may just be other people there looking for advice that you can be meeting as well. So how often are you trying to get on any sort of podcast, stage? Let's really push you out your comfort zone and go get a shit ton of exposure for people that may be looking for patents and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's something I need to be doing. It's not something that I have done much in the past. I did have a podcast. I'm doing some videos, just recorded a few for, my YouTube channel and to be used on LinkedIn and so forth. But
what's your YouTube channel called?
It should be the Patent Baron, I think, or just, I don't know if the is on there, but
it better be the Patent Baron.
It should.
What kind of stuff are you putting on the Patent Baron page? It is a Patent Baron.
Well, I did have some videos that I did in the past that were, just talking about some IP issues, and then, through the company that's helping me with the website, we recorded some videos just recently about, some of the basic questions about patents and the timeline and costs and the different types of patents, things like that, more introductory things. And, I think that's good. A lot of people, especially small businesses and people that are, new to this, it gives them, little bite-sized information, because it's a lot to try to figure out, even if you're just looking things up online.
So of the patents you're currently doing, you've done, have you ever thought about going back and asking them if you could interview them about the process they went through of creating whatever it was and the likes, and then how you helped them get a patent?
Well, it's a good idea. No, I hadn't thought about that. I think, it's certainly be something that I can ask them to see if they'd be willing to do that. And, depending on whoever the client is, some may be more open to it than others, of course, but I think that's a good idea. Some of them that can, people want to see real life, third-party stories, in other words, and, what their experience was, or, oftentimes I come into a project and I don't start it initially, I'm taking over from, someone else, or sometimes people try to do things on their own, trademarks or patents, and run into some trouble. Then they need help. So
I actually just told a friend the other day, because we were talking about something along this similar vein, like stories from clients about how they solved their problem with them or something like that. And I told him, I said, even if they weren't your client, if you have somebody with a really interesting story about a patent that they were helped to get, or anything. I know the cat always shows up. But if you have other people that that are just your close friends, who would have a great conversation, or somebody who has a great story about it, then you can put those people on it and not have to worry, because it still is talking to your customer. It still is helping explain a story to your customer, whether it was your client or not, because it's still a story that is exciting.
Yeah, and that content would play very well on LinkedIn as well. Like half the time, people don't know that they need patents and trademarks and whatnot. They haven't thought about it. So the more you're out there educating and teaching them just through what you've done with other people, you're going to get a lot more of, oh crap, maybe I need to do this for myself.
Right.
You also have all those people that start patents and it goes into patent pending, and they're in that stage of they cannot get out of that pending position. So how do you bring those people in to start interviewing them and being like, okay, this is how you navigate this patent pending to get it pushed through even quicker, kind of thing.
That's good one too, Jess.
Yeah, that's a lot of low-hanging fruit too. Because a lot of those people, I mean, you think, there's a lot of products that get patents that we'll never see, like they're inside components and the likes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also patents there of things that we're going to see quite often. The things that we're going to see, people really want exposure for those. Well, hell, almost every patent should want some exposure so people buy more of it, see more of it, and the like. So,
Right.
And I know we're talking about patents, but it's trademarks, copyrights, the whole 9 yards. Every one of those is a pretty cool story, and people really love the origin of stuff. How I built this by Guy Raz is just monster, because he takes through the kind of the origin story of the process, and you could take people all the way up to the patent stage what it took for them to get where they are, create whatever they are. There could be a lot there.
I want to jump back to the personal branding side. In your head, what does a Baron look like?
Well,
Bernie.
Yeah. That's a good question. Bernie, do you have something to add?
But I think that's a great question. What does the patent Baron look like? JB. I mean, that's a really damn good question.
It is a good question. It isn't, I haven't thought of it from that perspective, as to, if I need to have some, like you said, goggles and scarf and so forth, which I kind of had an earlier logo. It's a tough thing to think about in some ways because, obviously the law is pretty serious, but, you also want to have, like you were saying, there's a lot of, certainly attorneys that market themselves in different ways. And, we see those commercials and things too, as they create, whether they're the, sharks or whatever, and so forth. So it's interesting to where should my branding fall as far as, having a bit of a, you want to be unique, but you don't want to be kind of over the top, at least, for what I do versus maybe, personal injury attorneys and, truck accident attorneys, things like that.
But strip the law part away. If you think of the word Baron, what is the first image that comes to your mind?
Well, I mean, obviously there's some, like royalty kind of connection with that name, as a term used for different, in different countries and things. So I think that's probably one of them. I don't know, maybe nowadays with, Baron Trump and so forth, there might be a totally different approach, but that's with two R's. But so yeah, there's a couple ways to look at it, I think. But yeah, more of like, dignified kind of sort of analogy there as far as, Prince, Baron, so forth.
What colors?
Well, people always think of, I would say, like gold and things, and like, maybe purple and so forth, maybe like a robe kind of thing. Just really thinking off the top of my head, but anything that's with royalty is going to be, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing I would say is look at your background. If you don't want to dress up as the Baron every day, you're going to be national, meaning you're going to be on video a lot of the time. So look at your background and see what kind of influences that you can bring in on the Baron into your background. Is it a color change? Do you have to repaint the walls? I will not be, I'm a horrible wall painter. I will not be repainting your walls. But is it lighting to give that majestic look? What things can you incorporate into your scene to kind of bring that Baron personality in?
It's huge. It's fun. So JB, we've thrown a lot of stuff at you. I'm kind of curious what's going through your head, some of your takeaways from the day. What are you going to do with the information you've gotten today?
Well, I think, one thing I'm going to do is, obviously talk to my website people, and, I want them to, be aware of what, my next steps are. And I have mentioned it to them, but I think this is a good way to jumpstart that. And, I definitely like the idea of, using LinkedIn to reach out more nationally and beyond. It's something that I need to do. And I really like the Eventbrite idea. I think that's really, an interesting thing I hadn't thought of, but, just as a way for me to go beyond my local area as far as, seeking out clients, and then, just looking at, how I can improve my branding. I appreciate the compliments but there's always room for improvement, and it can certainly evolve and grow over time.
Love that. It's a really cool name. It's a really cool brand. I'd like to see it get a lot more national attention. So, but keep showing up, keep putting yourself out there. It's going to be fun to watch that story unfold. So, all right, guys, let's kick it over to events. What events do you guys have coming up in the next near futures? Bernie?
I am wrapping up Eventapalooza tomorrow. Last one for at least a week or two here. Working with Rob Conlon. We're doing Conversations That Count, making your B2B podcast matter in 2025. That's tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern.
Nice. ABC, you got anything coming up?
I don't. Still same stuff. Me and Melissa are trying to. I need Peyton and I need to get together because Melissa and I don't want to do StreamYard by ourselves. So
don't blame you at all. Jess, you got anything coming?
So March 5th at 10 a.m. we have Fix Your Business Bottleneck. So we'll be working on brainstorming. It's an interactive workshop. So come join us there. And then Thursday night, we have First Thursday Happy Hour in Fort Worth at Hoppin'. So come join and hang out and handshake, hug, and all that good stuff.
Nice. I know this weekend in Dallas or in Fort Worth at the Texas Motor Speedway is a big foodie fest. So the whole Texas Motor Speedway is going to be inside the thing. Is going to be a huge food festival, like 80 vendors all serving different foods. I'm going to be so fat after that. That'll be fun. So for me, I've got an introvert workshop coming up called Silent Strengths. So how to network if you're extremely introverted. That's on LinkedIn. That's scheduled for tomorrow, March 4th. And then, of course, we've got the Badass Business Summit, September 17th through the 19th. We got such a cool announcement coming with that, and some really cool marketing fixing to happen. I will tell you guys on the Badass Business Summit, we are 50% sold out on this damn thing. So when we make this announcement, the rest of the tickets are going to start slinging. So it's going to be very, very cool. And the way we make the announcement is going to be just freaking rad. I'm excited for it. Jess's idea. So, I am not that damn creative. So, but Peyton, do you know who we got next week? So while he looks it up, guys, we are here every Monday, 8 a.m. Central, helping you get your week kicked off, having some fun. Hey, there's Mom. So cool. Mom just jumped on and said, happy birthday. Something very, very, very cool. Mom and I have celebrated 48 birthdays together. I'm the best damn birthday present she ever got. So we've only missed 2 birthdays hanging out together, both when I was in the Marine Corps. But otherwise, we've spent every damn birthday together. So she's 48 and holding, and I'm 48. So we're like twins.
There you go.
It works really well. Happy birthday, Mom. So that's awesome. So Peyton, who's up next week?
Next week we have Robert Locke.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Oh, nice.
So, out of Colorado. So, well, guys, go have a badass, amazing week. Jess and I will continue to recover from the Tough Mudder, and we'll see y'all next Monday. JB, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Love you, mean it.
Thanks,
Say
JB.
goodbye.